Oh my gosh, he's doing 93. Is that 93? 39? 93 I'm doing, whatever which way this is. My camera's always inverted and I'm an old man with glasses. Hello, cat. Hey guys, welcome back to the Tactical Perspective. This one I am doing 1993 G.I. Joe original line versus what we have in classified, what we've seen, what we know we're going to get, what we could speculate might be an option on the table. Pardon me while my cat distracts the shit out of me. And things like that. You guys know I've started at 82. I didn't think I was going to do the whole line, but as you look down that line and what the figure wave releases were, you can see that the current classified collection has kind of done a broad strokes tackle across the board. They've done that to capture many generations of Joe fans, my generation, and all those generations that came after me. So if you're watching this channel, guys, I'm going to show you really quickly. I am well aware, mostly through my analytics on my channel, kind of who's out there and who's watching, and you know, it's a lot of guys like me in that age bracket, you know, and all mostly American. Now, my regional data doesn't seem to add up, because it says that there's about what 62% in the U.S. and then 7% in Canada, 0% in the United Kingdom, but it doesn't say where the rest of them are. So I'm not sure how. Maybe the internet's just too full. But I think too full and we can't get the data. I don't know what it is. But anyways, I realize I'm talking to guys that are like-minded, and I might be talking to some of the younger generation who collected Joe maybe into the 90s, where we are now in this series. And I do my best to try and see what the creators saw, see what you guys saw back in those days when those figures came to your little hands and you unwrapped them. What was your play value and things like that. And you'll hear me in other series. I struggle with it because you know, it's a full generation or two behind mine. So with the Tactical Perspective, I try to bring that military experience in and look at it through Hasbro's eyes. How do they do what they say they want to do and modernize a classified figure while still staying true to that figure? And so when I do any of these series, I've gotten it down now where the last few of these, one Joe, one Cobra, and one vehicle. I'm going to pick one of each of those, and I'm going to try and show my thought process on why Hasbro could make it work if they chose to go this deep into the line and pull some random stuff. I'm not afraid to pull random stuff. If you've watched any of the other videos, my picks aren't always what the popular side will pick. Sometimes it's what I think Hasbro can achieve and surprise us with that I pick. And I don't think today's going to be any different of that. So you guys know me. I'm a cheap old man. I pay no staff, retiree. This is my hobby, not my business. So I go about things a certain way. I do a slideshow where the crow walks into the Google campsite, looks for some shiny buttons, picks a bunch and goes home with them and brings them on his tablet, just like I did with my analytics. So today is going to be no different, and I don't own any of my images and anything like that. Funny thing is, this is my second attempt at doing 93. I learned yesterday. I learned a very good lesson for newbie YouTuber. You can't get away with sound bites forever before you put something out there that the editing software picks up and realizes you're copyright infringing. I did that with the 93 yesterday. So today, on take 2 of 93, I'm going to steer around that. But let's go back. So just really quickly, guys, I know this is how I come off to some. You know, I'm constantly ranting about or going on about, you know, my lack of ability to figure out my editing software or my camera or whatever. I realize that. It's fine. I was hoping to come off more like this, you know, Lee Ermey, you know, the military veteran with some wit about him and possibly a good sense about him for no BS and all that other stuff. But I realize I haven't really achieved that, and I never really wanted to be that stern. I was more about Lee Ermey as a person, and I look at certain guys in my demographic, and I realize I'm probably talking about someone that you guys might relate to as well. If you've ever met a veteran of his generation, they are some of the most relatable, laid back, fun to listen to, and fun to speak to people in the world. And I always wanted to be that kind of a veteran when I did retire. So I hope I do become that. But I also realize I'm more like this. You guys have watched my videos. You see how I bumble, things like that. And that's kind of another thing I bring to the table, I guess. I'm okay with it. So let's go to 93 for a minute and get on with the show. What was the big song in 93, Ryan? You always seem to be able to tie that to G.I. Joe somewhere, and it was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston for the movie The Bodyguard, right? And I go back to that era, and I was so sick of that song. And I remember there was a big argument and a big dispute. It came into the light because you know how the media loves to twist everything and create drama. So the drama was Whitney Houston said this was her song now, if I remember correctly. And the controversy was that was an offense to Dolly Parton, the originator of the song, which was what I was playing in my video that, I had to reshoot. And that was the drama. Who owned that song? And if you guys know your Joe lore, and again, I'm, I'm not looking down, I'm looking across at you, because I learn more and more each time I look into it. With Joe lore and the company, Hasbro, and the properties of G.I. Joe, that's very much what went on with the Joe brand and the Joe name from its original creator, who, pardon me, I'm doing this without notes and I'm doing a one take and I don't have that there. But the original creator created Joe just based off the concept of an army toy for boys that they could play with. And then when he sold his intellectual property to the company, they turned it into G.I. Joe through several other people's sets of eyes and attentiveness, right? So who really owns Joe? Is it the person who had the concept, or is it the person that puts in the work, right? So that's how you tie I Will Always Love You to G.I. Joe. The movie of the era was, of course, and there you go, there's your Bodyguard photo for that movie, but it wasn't the movie of the year. This was Jurassic Park, and I guess the way to tie it into Joe, there's a very obvious one that'll come in through us discussing the line, but the way I would tie this most into Joe at this point is this was a, pardon my language, F around and find out kind of situation when it comes to dabbling in things you think you understand but you don't understand. And this was what I think the creators behind the G.I. Joe line in this era were starting to realize about themselves. So in this era, also one of the biggest movies in my opinion, and you guys know, you've seen my fob diorama in the background. I'm a big enough, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Bill Murray fan, but I'm a big Bill Murray fan. But this was very much going to be Groundhog Day as we see the line. What was different about this line in 93 is they came out really hard, really strong. That's why you had the big fat 9.3 instead of the fading away 9.2 and 9.1, right? They had a very low production of figures and vehicles in the previous year. So in 93, they came out and it was like a downpour of vehicles, or not vehicles, pardon me, but figures. So I'm going to get down at that level. I'm going to clear this table. I'm going to go through the 90 figures really quickly with you that came out, and we'll whip through that and I'll give you my picks, all right? And then also the vehicles, like I stopped counting after 90, guys, and then the vehicles. But what you're going to see in this slideshow is basically Hasbro declaring war on every other property that was popular in 1993 in the 90s era. You got to remember, Nintendo had just come out, and just like all tech, it's developing in leaps and bounds. It's got competitors, and it's clear now that the video game market wasn't a trend. It wasn't a fad. It was the new entertainment for G.I. Joe's market, quite honestly. So you can see where the influences of their competitors became something that they decided to attack, so to say, in this line. So I'm just going to get down here with you. Maybe we'll just tilt this up a bit and get that a little closer for you so you can see the figure. There you go, guys. That's as good as it gets here on the tactical perspective, but sometimes that's enough to make my point, and that's all these videos are about, making a point. Not plugging my products, not picking fights, just talking about these amazing toys. And so right away, this is a generation that had zero appeal to me, but I have to look at these and go, what was there? So we had the Alley Viper. I could see this being revisited. That's an interesting color scheme. We had Backblast. We still haven't seen the first character of it, but I'm not against the Canpat. I'm just not a big fan of massive sci-fi weapons. We all know that. We had Barricade. You guys heard me plug him as a possible Juggernaut type character for the line in a previous video. He carries over to 93, perhaps as a repaint. Let's just go back and make sure I'm on track with my slideshow. I am. All right. Bazooka. That's interesting. That doesn't even look like Bazooka, except he's got that red undershirt now. But I don't see any sports fanaticism in him. It's hard to remember that that's Bazooka. He's almost looking like a completely different character now. We had Beachhead, again, another variant. You wouldn't recognize Beachhead. He kind of looks like a polka dot door, kind of Sesame Street almost look, kind of with that many colors going on. And I don't even know why they made such a big deal about the yellow on the character, but not on the box art. It feels like it was a last minute decision and they just committed to the box art. You can't see this very well, but Bulletproof joined the line. Don't know much about him. Can't remember if he had a predecessor or not. I'm sure he must have, but it's entirely possible he was a new character for the line. The Battle Corps line was the direction of your standard basic G.I. Joe at this time. And then Cobra Commander in an all black and silver hooded version. I could definitely see some appeal there. Accessories be damned. I don't care about them at this point in the line. I think at this point in the line, it was just about pumping out as many shiny little things as you could for the consumer and not necessarily the logic systems. So you had the Cobra Eel get another version there, looking very Neptune-y, very DC comic hero looking kind of thing here. We got Colonel Courage. So here we have another new ranking officer that I've never heard of until now in the line, apparently toting a very manageable one-handed minigun, which I question the logic of because it's got an underslung what appears to be a much heavier gun. And again, no logic to these weapons, so those be damned. But would that make a decent figure? I have to look at that and think, yeah, possibly. You know, you don't get many high-ranking officers in classified right now, and the ones we got, we take note of, right? So, Crimson Guard Commander. Now, you guys know how I feel about that Crimson Guard. It's right now, to me, it's 2023-2024's army builder of choice, and it competes against the Python Patrol right now. If you are looking at the current available situation here in Ontario, Canada. California, I don't know if you guys are very much different, but here you have some potential in another Crimson Guard character in their Guard Commander. You can see that it's essentially just an upgraded Viper. We got Cross Country into the line, but Cross Country being a mechanic, I could definitely see some room for there, regardless of the loadout. And you know they're going to redeem themselves by doing a much better head sculpt and hat sculpt than what seems to be present in that figure if they chose to do it. Dr. Mindbender, I'm sure we'd all like to see another Dr. Mindbender become more available on the retail market and the common market. That glorious Mindbender that currently Hasbro Classified has is problematic in acquiring for a lot of new collectors. And those of you out there that have one, bravo to all of you. You know, you've got the crow's envy once again. But I don't know if I'd want a Mindbender based on this particular version. So we're going to keep going. Duke, there we have Duke looking a lot more like Dusty. Could that work on the line? Possibly, but I think there's other priorities. I wouldn't prioritize it until, you know, well after this retro Duke comes out next year. But not off the board. Okay, a different version of Firefly, this time much more green, almost looking like a... I don't even know what uniform this reminds me of. I want to say it's something British or Irish, not because it's green, but that head and hat feature with the breastplate and the way they've padded it. Would people be ready for this kind of a variant on Firefly? I don't see it being anything in the immediate pipeline. I think people are pretty content with this new Firefly, regardless of QC issues. So we go on to Flak Viper again. He was covered in the last year's series, so it's a repaint, what have you. There, no problems. Frostbite, you know how I feel about Arctic Commandos, and there are more Arctic Commandos options in this year that I can get behind. And I do think that Hasbro has a big plan for the Arctic line. I think we're going to see more of that. Maybe not in 2024 right away, but possibly in the end of 2024, easing into 2025. I think we can expect to see at least a couple new winter figures, I'm hoping. It just seems incredibly likely. I'm not basing that on anything at all except my own opinion. General Flag steps away from we had him last year. I think this is a repaint, and I think it's a catapult he's coming with. Sure. And Flag aircraft carrier, General Flag. If you had those, great. Uh, Gristle about joins the battle corps. Not really sure where he falls into. I would definitely have to research this character, but there he is in his Ron Burgundy outfit. Gung Ho again, carryover from the last year, the Super Patriot with an American flag and a missile launcher, and it almost looks like a shout out to Tiger Force. But that line I think had stopped well before this. And Heat Viper we've seen before. This is a repaint, I believe. And then the headhunters all get some more troop back up, and the stormtrooper and the headhunter street thug for Cobra. And you heard me talk about that's a potential army builder that we could expect to see down the line after the Iron Grenadiers are well and put away, and everybody's gotten their dose of them. I could see the headhunters getting revisited and broadening kind of the Cobra storyline as who they do business with. Sure. Iceberg again, see my same reference with the Arctic line. I'm just not a big fan of that yellow on white. If you're trying to look like piss in the snow, I guess this is how you do it. But I don't know if I need a figure to represent it. You got Keel Hall in this line, and that was an interesting figure. This, if I were to research it again, I think I did read he was the commander on the flag. Correct me if I'm wrong. And of course, I didn't have the flag, didn't know anyone who did. So how would I know? Shit, that could be him. Wouldn't that be interesting? Law, another guy with a different riot shield. If you weren't a fan of Shockwave's riot shield, I don't know if you're going to be a fan of that riot shield or this iteration of a military police styled character. But maybe you would. Who knows? Maybe if Hasbro approached it a certain way, did enough modernization to it with just the character itself, I could see something there. But this kit loadout, we talk. Hasbro, you call me, we talk. I want to be one of your Naval Reserve consultants, but Canadian instead. Leatherneck rejoins it, and he is clearly trying to stalk poachers as he is walking around on his hands pretending to be two giraffes. I see no other potential for that character. But who knows? Again, I'm not going to slam this generation's choice of colors, but, past trends and colors are often a regret when we look back at them. Can't see them translating all into this line. Long arm, yeah, looks like another astronaut type character or police MP. Look, MP, because he's using that same loadout, isn't he? Yeah, he's using that same damn shield. So he must be some other type of police specialist, I think. I can't read that. Sorry, guys. Bad image. Mace, underwater operative or undercover operative. I don't know what he's under, but he's under my radar as far as a figure release. But I do like that color set on his character. It is interesting, except for the yellow, but I like the tan on black. And maybe if they were to tone down that yellow to a light, soft, like leather brown. Interesting. Muskrat, we do know that there is a Muskrat going to be joining the classified series just through rumors and speculation of what we've seen based on a hat and the widely common interest of those who know and those who have good instincts all saying, looks that way, it is that way, or it probably will be that way. Either way, the crow commits to nothing. I would just like to see the original Muskrat, certainly before this one. Law Mutton Junkyard, oh, your crow's so happy. He's got his pre-order in for this, and I cannot wait. I got this one, the original, earlier in the line V1 version when I got my V1 Recondo, and I know that the new Recondo is coming into the retro line. I have to have that, and it's going to be set up next to my classified Mutton Junkyard, but it won't look anything like that, and I can't see a repaint on the schedule for Mutton Junkyard when Law and Order is still out there to be dealt with. Then we have the Night Creeper leader. Okay, so we do know that there is a Night Creeper plan for Hasbro for the classified line. There's been leaked footage of 2 different head sculpts for it, and I think they've spoken to it as being in the pipe. So that's always an option with this Night Creeper leader, I suppose. Outback gets another twist on that. He looks like a mix between a rock climber and a construction engineer, and I'm not overly fond of it. I think we're good with the Outbacks we have, and I would not understand right away if they prioritized anything along this in the line. And then you had 2 different versions, and there he's definitely catcalling the ladies and Scarlet and the other girls, and getting himself in trouble outside the break room. We got Roadblock, another very humble variant. I think it's very similar to the one. It's just a repaint from the earlier line. Snowstorm done up like a cross between he's a winter soldier, scuba diver, or astronaut pilot. Not really understanding that character concept, but he came in 2 variants. We got wetsuit again. I like that color. Like, it's good for diving. It's bright. It's got that bright feature and it's got that dark feature. I like what I think is representing weight belts, which is nice. And then simple propulsion devices. I don't hate on this one. This one I can see workable. Same as a Wild Bill option. I'm pretty sure everybody who wasn't able to maybe muster up the initiative or the cash per se to get up on the Dragonfly project right now, as tempting and as glorious as that all looks, I'm sure we'd all appreciate to get another vehicle character driver without a vehicle, as we have with CoverGirl and Copperhead. I would like my own Wild Bill. Would I like it in these colors? Maybe not those, but those. Yeah, I don't understand why the box art sometimes strayed so much from the characters without correcting the box art. But here we go. So you remember at the thing I said Joe was going to start attacking other things, right? So here we go with the more of the video game influence and what kids want to beat up on and what sensors will let you kill and destroy and rip apart or have bloody battles with. And they thought it was time to go do monsters again. Now, we've seen this. It's Groundhog Day. They did this in the original line, the old G.I. Joe line, and we'll talk about it at some point, but eventually, when public fever is going against your government, it goes against the military. And when it goes against the military, Joe sales usually, I guess, go down. Shocking. But yeah, anyways, that monster joined the line, and then the Mega Marines were fighting these monsters. So you had Blast Off. They dragged my boy Clutch into this, and I'm not sure I'm gonna ever unsee this. 3. That's the rating he gives himself on a scale of 25. But yeah, and again, I guess I am slamming it, but this Ooze Nickelodeon concept, this is where Nickelodeon's competition on the market started to appeal. All these Ooze toys, Joe got into the Ooze, just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were into the Ooze. Another toy. And He-Man. Oh no, so many toys getting into Ooze. Mega Marines carries on with, who was that? Cyber Viper, and Gung Ho gets dragged into this as well. He's number 1. That's his self-rating. Good on him. I agree. We got Mega Viper. Again, everything can be a Viper, guys. When you see a Viper on here, I am not ruling it out anymore. No matter what the color scheme is, no matter what it's called, if it's a Viper, I think it's on the table somewhere. Somebody's looking at it at Hasbro, because they are army builders. Mirage. Yeah, okay, I think we saw him in the last line too. I'm not entirely sure, but starting to look like a really amped up lowlight almost, but clearly not a sniper the same way. And then more of these monsters. Oh dear. Then we get into Ninja Force some more, and it's amped up side-scrolling video game character ninjas. So we start with Banzai, we get into Bushido, who I guess replaces Budo from the regular Joe line, and I don't know. I don't know if I know the story, and I'm not sure if I want to. It really isn't on my list of get-to-knows. There's that Night Creeper with that's the head they leaked with the other one that looked more like a nunchuck Snake Eyes slash-over mask. They brought Scarlet into this. Would you look at this? Would you look at this? Just look at it. Look at it. Tell me you don't want that retro Scarlet even more right now. That's coming out soon. Exactly. What did you just do? And I'll show you. What they did was they followed that trend. Oh, it didn't go there. Oh, we just move Slice. That's what we'll do. We'll move Slice over here. So what they did is they followed their competitor trend. Every boy was starting to become more and more about these video game characters as the graphics were starting to become a little bit more realistic, and the box art and the cover art and the storyline and these characters, and a little sexualization and violence went a long way in the 90s, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any ladies ever watching this video. So this was the influence I think they were working off of. A little bit of a little bit of yeah, and a little bit of ta-da. And that's what gave you that. Pardon me, that sound didn't go my esophagus very good. All right, so we got Slice to continue here and another Snake Eyes. And at this point, don't ask me if I want another Snake Eyes variant. Most of you know the answer. I think we've got more than enough. Let's keep pumping out the others. He gotta go back in line. Zartan joined the Ninja Force. That confounds me. I'm going to investigate. Gonna get to the bottom of this. I thought it was enough for him to have the identity of a conniving master disguise who deals with gangs and things like that, like the Dreadnoks. Why he has to be a ninja and all this. I know he was supposed to have killed the old master or the blind master or something. I know he's supposed to be tied to the Snake Eyes origin, but now he's reminding me of Berserker from the X-Men back in the late 80s, early 90s. And it's just not Zartan to me. I don't understand this one. I'm going to have to learn more. Or perhaps one of you could educate me in the comments and explain what this was. That'd be great. Then we get into Star Brigade. Again, now we're going up against Vanguard and other video games and all those other side-scrolling, blasting waves of enemy games. Star Brigade is your influence. So you had Astro Viper, we had Cobra BAAT, we had Countdown to Joe Destruction, 2, 1, done. Destro got a glorified version of himself for that, and as would Duke or Hawk Duke. We dragged Heavy Duty into this. Thank you again for the comments that reminded me that Heavy Duty was Roadblock's cousin. I appreciate getting sorted the F out on that. So we got Ozone. Another version of Ozone, a repaint. I'm sorry, that one's too busy. Fire Lizard, Foxbat, Frag Grenade, Flushbot. Don't know. Can't read it. Roadblock. Robo Joe. Oh my god. So this goes with my argument, guys. Every now and then, you look around at that toy market like DC and Marvel Legends and all those others, and I'm just thankful Joe Classified has not done a Build-A-Figure, because if they came out the gate with this, I would... I'd stay with my Joe, but I'd feel a little duped. Rock and Roll got dragged into that. Target. Then they said that's not enough. We gotta go take on. If we can't actually beat the video games in a fight, we gotta absorb one of them. So they went after Street Fighter. I guess Capcom. You know, they had some dirt on Capcom, or were seduced by Lady J in the right outfit, and they said yes. So we got Ryu into G.I. Joe. Ken Masters became G.I. Joe. Guile. Yeah, I always felt like he might have been. Chun-Li. She's teaching Scarlet how to dress now, I guess. Blanca. Bison, did he join Cobra or did he join Joe? I don't see a Cobra emblem here. Oh, maybe it was his own thing. I don't know. Edmund Honda. I always just called him E Honda. Now I know it's Edmund. Dalzim, Zangief, Vega, Balrog. You guys remember these guys. Sagat. All right, enough of those. Then we get into our mail orders. So we had... three different, we had a few, okay, so we had the Deep Six Diver version 4, we had General Hawk, G.I. Joe Commander, and a Name Your Own Cobra, and then we had the Arctic Commandos 4 pack, a Copter Pilot 2-pack, and a Rapid Deployment 3-pack. Okay, and so there's your, which one did I say? The Deep Six, I think it was. And your General Hawk. The Make Your Own Cobra, which we know is more like the Steel Corps of the era. It was like a follow-up to doing the Steel Corps. So could we see some build your, I don't know. We see enough Cobra Army builders. I don't see the point. The Arctic 4-pack, I would have an interest in this because we do have Viper 3-packs, Crimson 3-packs, 2-packs of Steel Core. Like, multi-packs are a way for Hasbro to kind of attack a chapter of characters really quick and get them out there. And I think maybe that's the answer to my Arctic conundrum for them, is like develop that line. Maybe an Arctic 4-pack featuring some of the secondary characters. Not secondary, but some of Snow Job's buddies like Iceberg and Blizzard and them. That'd be interesting. The Copter Pilot pack, one for Cobra, one for Joe. Not going to name them, don't care. But yeah, I can't read it right there, and I'm not scrolling back. And then the Rapid Deployment Force. So the Rapid Deployment Force is another concept that I like as a military member. The idea of a QRF. I could see a couple of Rapid Deployment Force 3-packs with maybe a couple, one repaint, one new figure and one original or something being available and actually doing well. It just depends on how creative with the marketing Hasbro wants to get. I know they're up against big competitors that people think they're trying to shut down in Valor Force, but I think there's room for everything, guys. It's not about the brand if you make it about you, right? So make these toys about you, collect what you want. But I see potential in a lot of stuff. And even in this late in the game, I can see some potential in what Joe was putting out there. Okay, we move into vehicles. We got the Detonator Nitro Viper, so we're getting more back into the big vehicles. Sorry, Nitro Viper was the driver for this one. Big missile vehicle. You know, a lot of play factor. Is it based on anything in reality? I mean, at its core, it's got some basis, but no. Then we get into the Ice Snake. Again, we build up that snow line. We're going to have to build up Cobras. Sure. I like it better than having the big open front like we saw with the other one there, Wind Chill's vehicle. Then we get into the you know, they have F-15, F-16, all those F-18, all the different types of fighter jets came back to Joe because they realized what people liked about the Sky Striker was it was based on a Tomcat. So I think they were trying to get back into these sales, but I think it was too late in the game. But I mean, these were all right looking jets. I would have marketed these if I was them. We got the Mudbuster, which was an all-terrain vehicle. Again, some play factor in that it had space for 2 figures up front, and then it had some action playability in the back with turrets and space for figures. We had the Shark 9000 come out, and that came with another version of Cutter, and this was your generation, or the next generation's whale for, you know, that's what I had, and then this generation would get this, right? And so you can see a lot of play factors, some bright American colors on there. This was definitely a showpiece. I think a little bit of a, hey, look, this one's good, right, guys? And I don't think they were way off the mark. Definitely not in their era. I just don't know if it would translate well into this one, and it would definitely have to be a HasLab. I don't see it prioritized. Remember I talked about Jurassic Park? Well, Joe picked a fight with them too. They went after the dinosaurs as well, but they would not do it anywhere as well, no matter what they threw in, be it a high-speed vehicle, a dinosaur to beat up on, or low light and ambush as their own figures in this set. They had too much competition from the Jurassic Park set. So moving on, Monster Blaster APC for Mega Marines, and this is more lock and load missile cannons, and it says it holds over 20 G.I. Joes inside, so it was more of an APC as well. Then Ninja Force got some vehicle backups, because you know what you bring to a street fight every time? A vehicle, right? So Ninja Lightning, and you can see a lot of ninja moves happening off these. Ninja Battle Axe, Ninja Turtle, no, not Ninja Turtle, Ninja Pile Driver. Okay, this one. Ninja Turtle. No, Star Brigade. Okay. Sorry, I guess we're done with the other competition out there. Pardon me for, oh, did I mention some names? Okay. Star Brigade, G.I. Joe. This was getting into their own little, trying to build up their Space Force a little bit. So you had this one here, and who'd that come with? It came with its own variant of Hawk. Big old battle robot. A little bit of Battletech influence from tabletop gaming a bit. But here we are, Groundhog Day all over again, right? This came back. I don't even remember what this was. Like I said, I likened it to the Cubert game. I want to squish it on a big pyramid as we move up and down it. But the Invader got some love again for Star Brigade, and then that RuPaul approved stiletto looking thing, the Starfighter, that got remade, repainted. Yep. Okay, no opinions on that. Street Fighter broke into the Dreadnought supply and got their own Rolling Thunder in the Beast Blaster, and that came with a Chun-Li and a Blanka, apparently. While the Crimson Cruiser came with Bison. That has a place. And hear me out. I do think that has a place. It's Crimson. It would fit with the Crimson line. It's an adaptive four-wheel vehicle that isn't a striker and isn't a vamp. And it could be the platform for some re-engineering and re-envisioning. But I'm putting it out there. Is it my pick? I don't know yet. We got this Street Fighter 2 Dragon Fortress playset, collaboratively from Capcom and G.I. Joe, and all I'm seeing about this is it was a place for you to put your figures up and knock them down, and then spin a couple of things. Don't know how that's sold. Don't see any market for it right now. Maybe as a background diorama cardboard cutout that you could get for free with a figure. Sonic Boom Tank with Guile again. Multi-track system or articulated body probably, but again an open tank, an open top. Should not call itself a tank. It should call itself a target. And then especially if it's got big loud guns over it. Sonic Boom. He's deaf. Crimson Guard Commander. Okay, guys, is this where we're at with this? Have we gone there? Let me just get out of this slideshow. I guess we're there. Yeah, so my one Cobra pick for this whole 93 line, geez, I guess I burned through that about as quickly as you can expect from me, is the Crimson Guard Commander. And I say this because I could see this being a more close timeline release, in that one, it buffs up a Crimson Guard that is readily available, could improve those sales or reignite sales for them if they were starting to dwindle. Two, it can use a lot of current existing molding properties in the Viper and other kits. And three, yeah, overall, I think it's achievable. And again, you are sending a nod to the kids that were collecting Joe in 1993, which isn't maybe as easy for your designers, easy a challenge to overcome for your designers, given what was happening in 92 with very limited release, and then so much in 93, and then 94 came to an end. For my Joe pick, and there, you can see he would fit in there. He would fold in nicely with any of the Crimson guys. And my last one there, I did, on my other video, I did pick the Immortus. I thought they would go well too. So, yeah, we talk about packs and how everything could be a Viper. So let's go to my Joe pick. My Joe pick right now, guys, is Keel Hall. Why? Okay, so if you never owned the flag as a kid, you might not have gotten to know Keel Hall very well, especially if you weren't comic collecting or watching cartoons or any of that stuff. And I think this is a prominent enough figure. He was the commander of the flag, if I understand that correctly, and he is of high rank. And it's another visit to the team that made General Hawk look as physically appealing as he did, aesthetics-wise. Regardless of QC issues. I don't care about that on this video at all. I think they could do a good job with it. There was like somebody else re-envisioned it later. I'm not sure which line, but and I can't see it from here. But I mean, I can see him working well on your stand next to a shipwreck, or talking with a hawk, or even if you were lucky enough to get the Dragonfly, you know, linking up with Wild Bill on a diorama of the flag deck. You know, things like that. My vehicle pick's going to be the Mudbuster, and here's why, guys. I think this is an achievable objective for that whole, can we modernize something old and make it appealing while still being true? Imagine you kept these colors. Imagine you kept a lot of the prominent shape and features, but you approached it like a technical vehicle that we've seen on a modern conventional battlefield. I'm going to get my arms off the table so this stops happening. There we go. Stab on. Move the camera back a bit. There we go. All right. So if they approached it as a technical vehicle and made it so that the gun could be removed, and perhaps you could have a infantry support weapon like an M60, a 5.56, a 7.62, but also replace it with a larger 50 cal or even an anti-armor like a flat cannon like this one. There's your playability factor. You could still have room for a couple figures. You definitely have room up front for two, but you would be able to still have two figures in the back no matter what you have in there, or take it all out and just have it as a troop transport. I think what we're going to see soon here, guys, is what they did in 94 is they opened the floodgates to go take on a lot of competitors at the last minute and see what kind of cash they could scratch together, if you know what I mean, out of the market. Because I think they saw the end of their market coming again, just like they saw it back in the 70s. Now, I'm going to draw you back to what happened to the line really quickly, what I was talking about with this 70s stuff, okay? When I talk about the Jurassic Park thing, and them attacking the dinosaurs, and all this swing for the fences stuff, this is what happened to the line prior to the 80s release. Back when these were Barbie-sized action playset figures, at some point, the market turned and said, you got to stop fighting Germans and all that. World War II's over, Korea's over, all this. Even the Vietnam sentiment was going bad, right? So Joe had to find a new market. So what Joe went out, got a new attitude, a new look. He went out, got himself some new friends, and they became more of an action force, a lot like Valorverse would be, of their own. And they weren't fighting Cobra or the Germans or any of that stuff. They were fighting new monsters and old monsters. Their biggest opponents back then, there's some old tribute art, right? Would have been like these cave guys, these troglodytes and other monsters and things like that, right? There you go. You had playset where they go and get them like that. So like I said, everything with Hasbro is Groundhog Day again. We can make videos tear apart every figure out there for quality control issues, appeal, price, whatever, availability, backlog marketing, everything like that. And that would be new. But as far as our interest and them taking the market to these extremes and then fading away, that would not be new. And we, I think, as collectors, and especially us as YouTubers who are exclusively about Joe, need to brace for that. Now, other YouTubers that are dealing on other toy markets, they know this game so well, and I'm sure they're very used to it. I, as a nostalgic YouTuber who's doing this as a hobby and nothing more, it's going to hurt because I have such love for these figures, right? Essentially, yeah, that's pretty much it for 93. I did want to talk about a few other things, but you got to respect Hasbro, man. Like, love it or leave it with their quality issues, sure, and all those business angles about, you know, shipping and distributions and changing boxes, all the little criticisms I've slung their way. They've always fought their way out of the corner, and then they've known when to strategically withdraw and come back again. We're not talking about a product that's new here. We're talking a product that's just re-envisioned constantly. And this classified line is a great vision. I think it's a very workable vision. I think we're at the 1/3 point of it. I think it's going to go another like at least probably another 8 years, maybe. 6 to 8 years, I think, of high stream, lots of toys. And we're going to have our ups and downs, as every toy line probably has, right? We're going to get good criticism, bad criticism, but we're going to visit all the lines, and that's why I did these series. So the next video is going to be 94. We're going to sum up this series. I'll pick that top fave, for Joe Cobra and vehicle, and then I'm summing this up. And then the tactical perspective will be back to looking at the figures I get, talking about Joe, and we're going to talk about some other stuff and other angles to look at Joe and what it was that we love or did love about this toy line. Thanks very much for your time, guys. I should probably always say it at the beginning of the video because I'm sure there's not as many people at the end of the videos that started the videos. But you know, go ahead, hit like. It's fine. It's fine if you don't. Subscribe if you are into this channel, and especially if you want me to link you up with some other guys that talk about this stuff. I've been doing that more lately because I think this community can be something really great. And yeah, share if you want to share. Comment if you've got something to say about Joe. If you want to explain anything to me or ask me questions or any of that stuff, or just have a good time and just chat. Yeah, that's my jam, boys. All right, guys, till the 94 video, I'll see you next time. Be on the lookout for that X-Men video I was talking about as well.